What's up, good people?
We're black.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy hump day. Happy black people getting hump day.
Okay, well then there's that. I feel like we were just on here. It was one of the fastest weeks to go by. Period. So how's everybody doing today? Well, first, Les, how are you doing today? Let me ask you that since you're my co-host. How you doing today?
Am I the co-host or am I the host?
Whatever you want to be today. You want to be the host and I'll be the co-host and fine. How about we both co-hosts? How about that?
Nah, because then co is second. All right, I'm good. I'm doing well. I can't complain, man.
That's good.
Good.
That's good. Awesome sauce.
A little bit jovial today. Jovial, serious at the same time. So.
Got you. So, y'all, if I just up and disappear, I've been having some issues with my laptop. It just decides it wants to lock on me. Don't know why that is. So if I disappear, I'll be back. Woo! What a week! What a week! What a week! It's been interesting, and today is even more interesting because of what's going on in the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Impeachment number 2.
It ain't gonna happen.
2. I'm counting.
Twice must one smack.
Well, okay, so the impeachment will happen, but as far as him being found guilty in the Senate, I don't think that's going to happen. Well, it really, honestly, it really depends on which way McConnell is swinging. If he just, because I know he said he's not willing to reconvene the Senate to bring him back before the 19th.
Right.
So if it happens after that, we'll have, Warnock and Ossoff in there. And if McConnell, he's already said that he feels like he's done impeachable offenses. So if he starts getting his people together, who knows? Who knows?
Let me tell you what this is. Let me tell you what this is like to me, right?
Okay.
I'm not even going to disrespect you by asking you this question by starting with the word if, right? I'm going to start like this. Remember the part in the movie on Friday after Craig whipped Debo's ass?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wanted to whip Debo's ass after he knocked out?
Yeah.
That's Mitch McConnell. The cat is already down. He's unconscious. He's out. You know what I'm saying? The time to do it is when he was doing it. These cats are now trying to save face, right?
Yeah.
And this is why, to me, it's a game, right? Yeah. I am not emotionally, I don't get emotionally charged behind it. I don't. I wish people would, especially black people, would stop getting emotionally upset and stop emoting over this, because if we find out that this has been a game all along and everything that's happened because it was planned like that, folks will be rolling over in their graves feeling like some straight suckers. You know what I'm saying? I had a heart attack. I worried myself to death because of this. Red cup today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So stop getting emotionally charged. There are other things that we can do, donate our time and attention to. This shit is going to happen. Okay? It's going to happen. And they've been telling us what to do. Prepare yourself. Get your firearms if necessary. if you haven't gotten it by now, what are you waiting for? And if you're smelling the smoke and you're trying to get out, it's too late, you in it, right? What we have to do, and hopefully we'll talk about that today in the show, is we have to get to a point where we are doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves, our family, Black people as a race, Black people as a culture, and preserve ourselves. If not, we are in trouble.
Yep.
Point blank.
What's up, good people?
Who we got? Anybody up there?
If you're out there, say hi.
Somebody.
And of course, he's out. At any rate, I hope you guys are having a good day. Today we want to talk about accountability, white privilege, where do we go from here, and audacity. So, yeah, there's just been a lot. I have a question though. Okay, he's back. I don't know what you over there doing. Look, I'm the one with technical difficulties, and you the one to pop out.
Did you see my hand move?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No. Hey, Elena.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. What's up, Elena?
So I was telling them we're going to talk about accountability, white privilege, where do we go from here, and audacity.
Yeah.
So
why are we talking about accountability? Accountability for whom?
For people in general, like, why is it that when a person does something and it's not correct, that they don't own it? Like, if you mess up at work, own it. People have more respect for you when you can admit, that you were wrong, than when you constantly lie. And then, when it's found out, when the truth is found out, then you're looking stupid. So why is it that people have trouble accepting responsibility and accepting accountability? And especially in relationships too.
You know what I'm about to say, right?
What?
It all goes back to slavery.
Okay, but okay.
No, that was a joke. That was a joke. That was my black thing. But it all goes back to slavery.
We blaming everything on slavery.
Okay, before we get into it, right? Let's talk about. All right, here we go. Why is there a difference between Black people and white people in terms of leaving their blinds and shades open in their house?
Dude, I don't know. That irks me. Elena said delusional or low self-esteem. Okay. That irks me. It's like, I don't want to see inside your house. I don't want people looking at my house.
Would you consider them to be free?
Free?
Yeah.
I guess in a sense, it might be almost like a little bit of arrogance. Like, because if I can see everything that you're doing and you don't care, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they think that nothing's going to happen to me or whatever. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking at it right.
No. I want to segue into privilege and audacity. All right. But before we go there, Elena said delusional, low self-esteem, which we'll go back and revisit that. But is it possible that during the times in the period of enslavement that, when Black people went back into their little small huts, homes, whatever you call it, shacks, and they were always being, what's the word, inconvenienced. The slave master would come through the door, open the door. So, so they closed up windows, they locked doors for protection, as where the slave masters and their families, they were free to roam, free to walk, free to move around. It's like when you see exhibitionists, they appear to be very free. Um, or is it that privilege? You know what I'm saying? Or you have the audacity to do that.
Well, white folks feel like they own the United States anyway. They've always felt that way. Hence the fact that they went to another country and felt like they could just, I mean, not felt like they could, but bought us and then brought us back over here. So they it's like what Joy Reid said during the insurrection. When you feel like you own it, then you have the mindset that you can do whatever you want because it's yours. So, I mean, look at.
I want to read something to you right quick. Not to cut you off. The Good Shepherd, 2006, Matt Damon, right? And there was a scene in there where it says, "Let me ask you something. We Italians, we got our families, and we got the church. The Irish, they have their homeland. Jews, their tradition. Even the niggas, they got their music. What about you people, Mr. Wilson? What do you have?" He responds, "The United States of America. The rest of you are just visiting."
See,
So is that
they always felt like it's there, like the United States is theirs, pretty much, right? And we're visitors, meaning we don't have the right to vote. Hence, it was stolen. And the fact that the Deep South elected Georgia, no less, elected a black man and a Jewish man to the Senate. They feel like they're losing their grip on power. By 2025, they're going to be the minority. And it scares the shit out of them. So they're going to do whatever they need to do to try to retain power.
Maybe.
Agree? Disagree?
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe all of this is by design.
As far as,
listen, I don't get excited.
I don't. I'm just
about having black people being elected to things for the first time. It's 2021. You now have a black female that is one of the coaches of the most racist cities in America, the Boston Red Sox. I don't know if you knew that or not. 2021, we now have a black vice president. Before that, we had a black president. I think all of this is by design. I think the ones who are scared are the ones who are dealing with it from a grassroots level, which they don't understand the hierarchy. Because I don't think the hierarchy, I think this is playing into their hands, because if they didn't want it to be, it wouldn't be. Elena and I was having a conversation last week, and I think, we were talking on the podcast, and she had mentioned the word like solidified, or Elena, help me out if you remember, in terms of how black people are, and who we are, and our black magic, and that's misunderstood by a lot of people, and the power that we do possess. But I don't think that we are at a point now where these things are happening to us, and it's because we're out here doing it. Black people have been voting for years. Fannie Lou Hamer, you know what I'm saying? This sister was out here before out here was out here.
mm-hmm.
So it just so happens that now they're beginning to allow this to happen, and now we're seeing it. April Ryan tweeted the other day something about the rising of the Divine Nine. I don't think it's that deep, you know what I'm saying? But they're beginning to see. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a member of fraternity, so
I'm not a member of a sorority, so
yeah. But I think when things are happening for the first time, and they are allowing us or allowing these things to happen. Because Black people have been out in the trenches for years. It just so happens now, that things are jumping off the way they're jumping off. I don't get too excited.
I get it. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, and I definitely hate to see people, having heart attacks behind this. They upset, they dying, their blood pressure's going up, my sugar. You know what I'm saying? What the hell is sugar? You know what I'm saying? Or Black people, that thing got me upset. What thing are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Not the sugar. You were old school. I got bad sugar. That's what they used to say. It's called diabetes, y'all. It's called diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, really get into it, man. I mean, audacity, privilege, freedom, epigenetics, what we talked about the other day. How, in my opinion, I think in order for Black people to get back to being the type of Black people that we're accustomed to being based on what we've been taught about our history, which I don't think it will ever happen. I think you would have to totally eradicate everything and start all over and not let people interject in the lives of other people. They've changed the course of us. They've changed our nature. They've changed the way we think, how we interact with one another.
So if that were the case, then there would have to be total segregation. If you're saying to not let people interject.
Yeah, I mean, well, right, or have some borders, or have some boundaries,
Segregation. You would still be segregating the Blacks from anybody who is not speaking our narrative.
So be it. I mean, what's very interesting to me is that I see a lot of interracial commercials now.
Yes, OMG, yeah.
And
like the commercial for the Nissan Rogue. It's like the mom's Black and the dad's white, and they're going all over the place or whatever.
Yeah, even a NyQuil commercial. You know what I'm saying? Laid up, and you creep up in behind her. You know what I'm saying?
And the Grubhub commercial, even though it's cartoonized.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean,
listen.
But I look at it like it's the makeup of what the U.S. is. It's a lot of interracial couples out there. So why should they feel left out when it comes to being on TV? I mean, the gays felt left out. Now you got gay shows. You got gays in storylines, things of that nature. And so why not the interracial?
Why not the interracial?
Mm-hmm.
The more things change, the more things remain the same, right? Okay. How many people see? Whatever your motives are, if your motives are pure, if your intent is pure, we're good to go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When your motives aren't pure, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about this fascination with interracial relationships? I'll tell you what you haven't seen, because every interracial relationship, every interracial commercial that I've seen has been fair-skinned woman, Black woman, light-skinned Black woman, right?
Not a dark sister, not like an Alec.
Yeah,
like
we ain't talking no Esther Roll. You know what I'm saying? Damn. You understand?
Get your boy, man.
And you know how many people are not familiar with how intelligent Esther Roll was? She went to Harvard. But you were
all they saw was Florida Evans.
That's what I'm saying. Right. But now all of a sudden, she has to look like damn near like Halle Berry. You know what I'm saying? And then you have these conscious, conscious looking sisters that are now with regular old plain Jane white boys, right? And I'm like, you know how many, and I'm not saying you can't do it. If that's what you do, that's what you, I'm not knocking interracial relationships. What I'm going back on is how many black people lost their lives. What about the old white woman now who's hobbling around, what I'm saying, who lied on Emmett Till?
That's what I was just sitting here thinking.
They need to string her.
It was against the law for a black man to even look at a white woman.
Yeah, and that wasn't even the case. So now, what would happen? What would happen if we went back to the past, right, and brought back all of those racist cats and saw their great grandsons, intermingling with black women, and vice versa? Because in the sitcom Scandal, right, which I didn't like whatsoever, I couldn't stand, right? After watching that, I didn't even look at Kerry Washington the same.
Why? It was a character. That's not her.
Let me tell you something. Right? Elena put something up there.
She put something for YouTube. I don't know. We can't click on it.
I'm a sneak right now while I'm talking. But right, it's a character. So so is the Housewives of Atlanta, right? They're characters, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't affect people's lives, because a lot of people are still living off of their imagination, right? So I'm watching, and watch this. Sister that I went to high school with, she's on Facebook, and this is when Kerry Washington, I forgot, Olivia Pope was hanging out with Fritz, and she had put on there, Olivia just need to go ahead and get together because they are in love. They love each other so much. And I wanted to hit her back like, isn't he married? Not saying that, you can't do that. Isn't he married? But didn't you just get married? What if somebody was edging your man on to go be with somebody else? She was just shit, man. You understand what I'm saying? And see,
it's like we talked about the other day. They romanticize romance.
Say the part of romanticized romance, yeah.
Yep.
But but when are you going to see? When are you going to see a black brother like Seal? You know what I'm saying? Playing the role of a president. We got a white.
The closest we got was Dennis Haysbert in 24.
Was he with a white woman in that?
No, but he wasn't a light skinned guy, but he played the president.
He was they let you be president, but what I'm saying is, did he have a white woman that he was creeping with on the side? No, because you're not going to portray that side, because white men don't want to see their white women with black men, right? Go back to Pimp, Iceberg Slim. Mm-hmm. There is a chapter in there where they said, and white women who have sexual congress with niggas are the dregs of the earth. This is what they said about them. They are fecal matter to us. So, but it's okay. And if you listen to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and the Cress theory, and the things that she's talking about, what happens when you stop producing black children? So it's okay for a white man to impregnate a black woman, but is it okay for a black man to impregnate a white woman?
It starts diluting our lineage.
Yes.
Because we'll start getting lighter and lighter and lighter.
Integration. Like Malcolm said, the only thing I like in my coffee is what? Sugar or cream? That's the only thing I like integrated. And we could be viewed as we could be looked upon as being racist. And that's another thing. The word racist, you're a racist. That word has been kicked around like a can down an empty street by a bored kid who ain't got nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying?
Well, check this out.
Go ahead.
With the word racist. We all come from black. The reason that we got lighter skin is because those that move further away from the equator got lighter, those that stay closer or darker.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're racist, if you don't like people, if you don't like blacks, then you really don't like your own kind. If you really think about it, if you really break it down, you can't get we talked about this. You can't get black from white, but you can get white from black when you dilute.
Every color except for black comes from black, and black is not a color. Black is the essence.
Right, exactly.
You know?
So when people are hating against blacks, you don't realize you black too. You just real white.
Vanilla. You ever seen vanilla? You cook. You bake.
Yes, I do.
What's the name of it again?
Soft and sticky sweets by Nikki.
Then sticky, skeet.
Shut up.
But hold up. You know, vanilla is not white.
No, the vanilla bean is dark.
Yeah.
Right. Then you have to have, if you're baking something, let's say you're baking a white cake, right? If you use pure vanilla, it's gonna darken it just a tad, which is why you have to use imitation vanilla because that's clear.
House votes to impeach Trump for insurrection. Unclear when the case will go to Senate. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're baking like a white cake and you use pure vanilla, it's not going to be white. You have to use imitation vanilla, which is clear, no color.
Say it again. So in order to make a white cake, if you want a white cake, you got to use imitation vanilla.
If you want it white.
But if you're going to use the pure blacker than the Nation of Islam vanilla, right? Then your cake is going to come out.
It's not gonna come out like dark or whatever.
Come out mixed, right?
Let me phrase that. Let's not use the word cake. Let's use buttercream. If you want your buttercream really, really white, like bright white, it's not gonna be white because you're using butter, and butter is kind of yellow. But if you use pure vanilla, it's gonna be, kind of like an off-white. So.
Great analogy.
Huh?
That's a good analogy.
Thanks.
No, because what I'm saying is that so everybody out here, making these vanilla kids, you know what I'm saying? Or fake vanilla. So you can tell when something is using real vanilla versus that fake vanilla stuff, right? The imitation, right? Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, most people don't. Most people don't have a very sensitive palate. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But if you're baking, you know that you're going to get the better flavor is from the natural versus the imitation.
The essence.
Exactly.
Which goes back to our point, right? In order to get any other color, you got to start with the essence.
So, yeah, and it just tastes better. Pure vanilla tastes way better than imitation.
It's kind of dead in here today. What's going on? Ain't nobody reaching out?
I don't know. Maybe people are glued to the TV watching stuff.
What? What's more important than black spasms on a Wednesday?
I don't know.
That's a black man. Where your boy at? What Ken at today? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. But I want to talk about white privilege because.
What is there to talk about?
Oh boy.
Who?
The Viking dude from the insurrection last week.
Okay.
His mama went on TV saying that he wasn't eating in the jail because they weren't giving him all organic foods. So the judge ordered today that the jail has to give him organic food. Now, you know, if he was black, nigga, I guess you just gonna starve. So you get hit with 2 felony misdemeanors, but you get to request organic food. Are you kidding me?
Now, the fact that the race is a construct, we buy into it. Yes, I agree with that. Hold on, but I want to come back to that. The fact that his mother brought that to the attention of the jail or the warden, is that privilege or the audacity?
That's both. That's both. That's how dare you starve my child. He's white. If he wants organic food, you need to fix it for him. You know how many vegans, you know how many black vegans we got in jail that gonna have to eat?
I know more. They can give up their lifestyle.
I'm just saying, man, this is crazy. So you commit domestic terrorism and you're given organic food because that's what you eat? You're just gonna be hungry. You have no rights when you go to jail. That's what jail is. You don't have any rights when you go to jail because you broke the law. You broke the law.
Well, remember the cat, I forgot his name, no disrespect. The young white boy went over to China somewhere and he decided he wanted to deface property. And they kept him over there. They whooped his ass. You know what I'm saying? I think he went to UVA. No, they whooped his ass. Really. And when they finally released him, you know, as soon as he got back over here,
it was that team. They defaced.
Yeah. See now, they would say the audacity of you to come and tear our stuff up, our property like that. You know, I would say privilege, and then it turned into audacity. But they made an example out of his ass. I felt so.
My thing is, it's like you go into somebody's house and you trash their house.
Yeah.
Seriously, you have that. Every action that we do has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. But everything you do has a consequence, and people need to understand that. But the problem is, again, accountability. People don't hold them accountable, which emboldens them. It makes them think, okay, well, you know what? I did this, nothing happened. Now I can take it up a notch.
Yeah.
Which is why the Dems are like, we gotta impeach him. He's been doing this for forever. Our lives were in danger. There has to be a consequence for that.
I think it's deeper than that. You know, I'm with you on the consequence. That's why, you know, I mean, black kids, when we messed up, we got our ass over the quickness. It wasn't wait till you get home type shit. It was like where you act up, where you act at is where you get smacked at, you know?
Right.
Because and me now being my age and having a daughter, and I have to be very careful, is that because what I don't want to see happen is that it becomes a trend that you think, oh, I did it, I can get away with it. Because you're not going to be able to get away with everything that you do. And you don't want to build that momentum to think that if you know, and that's how it starts. It says in Think and Grow Rich, when men first come in contact with crime, they abhor it, they hate it. You know what I'm saying? They stay in it long enough, they begin to get used to it. You know what I'm saying? Staying it longer than that, it becomes a part of them. You know, I think the whole thing with the Democrats is that you know the cat is on his way out the door, right? You know, I think they're trying to mess with his money, his longevity, and rightfully so. I mean, you know, take it from him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you know,
why should somebody who has done nothing but undermine democracy since day one get to live off of our taxpayer dollars for the rest of his life?
He's been doing it since he's already been doing it. That's why you know, him being in the role of the president of the United States of America didn't change anything, right? You can't talk yourself out of something that you behave yourself into. The only thing he just did, because it says wherever you go, there you are, right? That office didn't change him. It doesn't change people. It just gives you a shield. You know, you get housing for 4 years, and you get privilege for 4 years. The same thing that he was doing as a citizen, he's doing now. Now, what they're trying to say is you're not going to be able to do those. You're not going to be able to go back and be a regular citizen. Not off the taxpayers' dollars. No, you ain't gonna, right. You haven't done anything. He didn't do anything before. You know.
And I think the thing that gets me is like people continue to give him money and they ain't got none. $5 here, $10 there. That adds up. If okay, let's say he's got 75 million people that support him. If every one of those people gave him $5, really?
Question.
Yep.
We're not looking. I'm not talking about morals, right? Right. I'm not talking about principles. I'm talking about something that you just said, right? What's the difference in people giving him $5 and $10 versus when people were giving Barack Obama $5 and $10 when he was running for president, right?
Now I'm talking about the lie that the election was stolen.
Right, but whatever it is, they believe it's their belief system. They believe because someone who gave a millionaire $5 actually thought they were making a dent. You giving Trump $5, you're not making a dent, but you believe that the election was stolen. I think the election was stolen. I think it was stolen. I think it was taken from him. And guess what? How you gonna be mad? Like he said, like my man said in Players Club. Welcome to the stripping game, partner. You know what I'm saying? He's been dogging folks out. Listen, and we can go. This can take three shows. I think he was kicking butt in Arizona. Was it Pennsylvania as well? Whatever states that he was kicking butt in, right? All of a sudden, he's like, you know what? Go back to when Chris Rock was running for president, head of state. When they got to the point and realized, man, this nigga could actually win this thing, right? Next thing you know, you saw an influx of people running to vote. I think when they realized that, you know what? Yeah, the American population seem to be wanting to vote for him. Let's flip this button right quick and let's change these votes a little bit. And
I think it was a record amount of people voted by mail, and you got millions upon. If you're in a state where before the pre-pandemic, most of the people voted in person, you don't really have to do a lot. But if you switch all of those people to now mail ballots, there's a lot of policies and procedures that have to be followed to make sure that those votes are valid.
Okay.
And you've got all types of people. I mean, Pennsylvania broadcasted. They had closed circuit television where you can watch them do what they do.
Yeah, but I've also seen people do magic tricks too. You know what I'm saying? You know, I understand what you're saying, and I'm not taking away from that. But I think in this case, this cat actually won the election, but they was like, nah, you know, he didn't piss too many people off. I put it to you like this. How did Hillary Clinton lose to him?
Well, that's something that
wasn't the election there for her to win?
Yeah, but the thing is the electoral votes, the electoral college. You have to win certain states. Okay, so Elena says, if he actually thought he was winning, why would he block mail-in ballots? Why? Because he knew he was out. Thank you, Elena. That's why months beforehand, he was putting that narrative out there because he knew. That's why he did the thing with the Postal Service.
Call Elena Thomas.
My grandmother just sent me a Christmas card on December 14th, and I just got it today. Hey, Elena, I mailed something on December the 8th, and the person got it yesterday. So there was
Call Elena Thomas. I contradicted myself. I'm doing it.
So
don't contradict me on what's it, Steam?
So I mean, it was a lot to this. But my thing was, he could have won if he hadn't bashed them, if he hadn't got people thinking, oh, mail-in balloting is wrong. And a lot of Democrats, that's what they did. They focused on trying to keep people safe. I mean, look at the Republicans who refused to mask during the insurrection. Now we got 3 senators or Congress people that have coronavirus because they refused to wear a mask. All of this because of the pandemic. You basically talked yourself out of winning.
I mean, he played himself.
You thought it was gonna work, but it backfired.
He thought he was God.
Huh?
He thought he was God, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it backfired. And states were coming on. They were talking. You had Republican and Democratic secretaries of states. Anytime you got Republican secretaries of state saying that this was a fair election, come on now. These are people that voted for him. So I don't believe that it was stolen. I just think he talked himself out of it. But
you got a bunch of a lot of white folks that believe different.
I know. It's easier to believe.
Die for this thing. They're willing to bust up into the Capitol.
It's easier to believe a narrative that you've made up in your head than to believe the truth. And that's what a lot of these conspiracy theorists, they play on people's fears.
But that is their truth. And that's the thing about it. That is their truth. That's the only thing. I mean, they're holding on to. Look at all of those folks in West Virginia who still had outhouses, you know what I'm saying, after the year 2000, was still on welfare, still had dogs laying on the porches with ticks on them, you know what I'm saying, still on Obamacare, but they called it the Affordable Care Act, and still think that Trump was working for them. And then your boy Dave Chappelle came out and said, Donald Trump works for me. I'm rich.
Because they aren't educated. Okay. Alana says, I think he lost. He's been rolling on propaganda for the last 4 years, just like Hitler. He has lied more than any other president. You know what? It's like you said last week. The chickens have come home to roost. You lie, and lie, and lie, and lie, and lie. And the truth shall come to light. Always.
It seemed like it happened swiftly with him, though. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, karma don't have no date, man.
True, but normally it's like it takes a long time for it to come back on you, right? You don't. A lot of times you don't get that instant receipt. I got a joke for you. Can I tell you a joke?
Sure.
When I go to stores, I always go to a female cashier.
Why?
She be checking me out.
Alana, get your boy.
Oh my goodness. All right, but yeah. No, but see, like, when you said receipt, that's what came to my mind. But when you said that, karma, I mean, it's like that was swift,
That was people speaking.
Unprecedented. Yeah, it was.
We definitely are, Alana. We're definitely in unprecedented times.
Or the powers that be got tired of him. You know what I'm saying? The powers that be, power dictates. Like, look, he didn't do what he's supposed to do. He the porch light came on and he didn't come back home. That's from the movie Love and Action in Chicago.
But it's like I said, every action that we do has a consequence.
Yeah, but this was swift.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still a consequence.
I'm with you. I'm not arguing with you on that. But what I'm saying is that presidents do dirt, but it don't. Listen.
But then they don't do it so open and brazen like he has.
Right.
Listen. Done, you know, behind the scenes, and you find out about it later. It's easier. It's easier to correct it when it's just in your face. I mean, they take a phone call. Seriously?
He lacked decorum. He lacked a lot of decorum. But let me tell you whose footsteps that he's following in. He's following the pattern of George Herbert Bush, a one-term president. You know, when was the last time we had a one-term president? It was Carter. In my era, it was Carter, and then it was George Bush.
I think any truth he has ever told has been for his personal gain and not for the people. If there's a grand conspiracy, what is that?
It's supposed to be conspiracy.
Oh, conspiracy. Why isn't he dropping dimes, WikiLeaks, and evidence? And I think that's the Democrats' whole argument. No judge. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, there's mountains of evidence," but when you go to court, that's when you can't lie. Lawyers aren't trying to be sanctioned. They're not trying to lose their license. So there was no evidence. They keep saying that they were stolen, that there's all this fraud. Prove it. Listen,
we're not going to.
We're
not going to be able to prove it.
That's but my point is if there was fraud and they were able to prove it, okay, that's different. I would look at things differently if I could see the proof in front of me, but there is no proof. So I can't just take your word for it. Not with something this big.
I'm with you. I mean, we're not going to be able to prove it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not unless some things come out years ago and they say, hey, we clearly stole the election from him. Look, stranger things have happened.
Ivy sent me a Sean King post about, I think what was his name? There was a black man who was murdered by the police today.
I saw that.
He was a pastor. I'm trying to get his name. I had it earlier. His name is, you know what? My tablet is acting stupid. His name is Patrick Warren Sr. Now, I watched the video on Sean King's Instagram, and I don't know what happened. The police came into the house because they had a ring. So, you saw the officer walk up. He walks in the house, and then you hear him say, okay, well, I'm going back outside. Next thing you know, the Patrick's coming outside, and as he's coming outside, he's waving his hands erratically. And then I think you hear they tase him, and then his family comes out and they go back in the house because they don't want to see it. But then you see him get off the ground, and it looks like he's lunging towards the officers, and then you hear gunshots. So I don't know if they're going to use body cam footage, stuff. It's tragic, but every time there's a shooting of a black person, I don't hop on they killed another black man bandwagon. I don't do that. I need to know all the facts, because there have been, in my opinion, some instances where a black man was shot, and I feel as though it was justified.
Sometimes it is justified.
I'm not one of these ones that jump on the bandwagon. Oh, they killed another black man. And I'm not saying that this is one of those cases. I can't jump on that bandwagon because I don't know all the facts yet. It's tragic and it's sad, because I was thinking, you got people with zip ties and they're coming to do harm in the Capitol and they get escorted out. But this man was at his home and he gets shot dead. That's a problem. in this country, that our skin is a weapon.
So they go to his house, right? They go to his house,
Mm-hmm.
and he ends up dead.
Mm-hmm. On his front lawn.
Let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. Why is it that when you go to certain suburbs, you can clearly see through people's houses? Them walking around, you know, in the black community, we boarding up everything. We pulling shades, putting a piece of wood in front of the window, putting a chair under the door handle, you know, because the more things change, the more things remain the same. It's open season. It's been open season. And it's to the point now, if you do it often, then people become desensitized.
We become numb.
It's like, oh, another black person killed. Okay, you know.
And it's sad, it's angering, and it needs to change. And I just hope that it's put on somebody's desk in this new administration, because I feel like they need to take that immunity away from police officers. Because it can be open season on blacks when there's no consequence to it.
Well, I don't feel any confident with Joe Biden being president and not being on this desk, because he's the one who started the three-strike rule anyways. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna have to go, you know, and then
That's why I said somebody's desk. I didn't say his. I mean, I don't
this in the VP either, in terms of you know, her willingness or ability to sit down and reevaluate and reanalyze how she did things when she was in California. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said somebody. I don't care who. I just there needs to be some things. I've been saying for years that every state, well, every police department in the U.S. needs to have a non-biased unit, meaning people that don't have what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have any vested interest in the officers. So you have an investigative unit that is strictly neutral to look at every officer involved shooting. Is it going to cost money? Yes. Yeah, but no, I'm talking about total outside. They can be retired military, whatever. But you can't have your own investigating your own. You can't have that.
But at the same time, if you were once military, the Fraternal Order of Police runs deep. I don't think that you can actually be a member of any organization where you carry a weapon and not look at it from their perspective or their point of view. So that would be hard. You would need completely, you know, you would need somebody that's away from it, but then at the same time, because you're not involved, we don't know the ins and outs either. You know?
Elena says, so many off-duty law enforcement officers were involved in the insurrection. In other news, I heard that one of the insurrectionists, while he was attempting to steal a painting, placed a taser between his legs, accidentally tased his scrotum, and died of a heart attack. Yes, and I was laughing my ass off. What's up, Karen? Karen says, double impeachment. Boom. I love her progression of the fist. Love it. So, you know, it is what it is. My thing is they're going to do what they're going to do.
Right. And so what do we do? Here's the question that I have for everybody, but really pointed towards Black people. Now that you got your first, I won't say African-American vice president because she's not African-American, right?
Woman of color.
Woman of color, right?
She is African-American.
She's not.
I know her father was Jamaican, my bad.
not ADOS. You know what I'm saying? She's not a descendant of slaves. Well, it depends on how you look at it. But now that what do we do? How do we progress? How do we move forward? We had Barack Obama for 8 years, right? Now we have her, and she's on the people. You know, hell, she could be a lame duck like Pence was. Pence ain't have no power, man. And you know what? His boy made him look like a straight up bitch last week. He did. You know, he did. Pence cross dressing ass up. Anyway, excuse me.
So how you
You know, it's just you start playing around and playing games with people, and you know, and I even heard black people, oh my God, the Capitol is sacred. Man, that's where they passed the laws for you to be a slave, Negro. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Oh, it goes back to what Malcolm said. And the slave loved his master more than he loved himself. If the slave master says, we got a nice house, the slave's like, yes, we got a nice house. You know?
that's because he valued his life. He didn't want to die.
Man, but listen, we dealing with a bunch of house Negro, Uncle Toms, you know. So now we have both a Jewish individual and a black person, right? Yeah. Let's see how long this brother stays true to the game. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why cats like that don't go, strong brothers don't go into politics like that, right? Malcolm couldn't have went into politics. Khalid Muhammad couldn't have went into politics. Mamua Abu Jamal couldn't have went into politics. You know? I couldn't go into politics. Too radical. Yeah. You know?
Well, you know, politics is about power.
Yeah, many poly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been able to hang out at the RNC and the DNC and watch how folks lobby, and whoever is paying them the most money, that's who they go with. You know?
It's about power, and money is power.
It's all about money, and the damn thing funny, you gotta have a con in this land of me. That's all it is. So I think we need to get off this con game, right? You know, keep going back to what we talked about. Was it yesterday when you abruptly rushed me off the phone, or was it the day before? Yeah, the day. Yeah. Now you got amnesia. That's but like we said, you can always keep a hoe as long as you keep them confused. And what I mean by hoe, I don't mean sexual. You know what I'm saying? I mean someone that's not paying attention to what's going on out here. You know, we get caught up. It's this big circus that we're getting caught up in. You know?
I get it.
I can't be no hoe, man. You can't keep me confused. You know what I'm saying? Even Phyllis Hyman says, seems like I'm always going through changes, living in confusion. You know?
Hey, Phyllis.
What you know about Phyllis? I hate when people do that. What you know about that? What you mean what I know about that?
Okay, Phyllis.
We just got to get off of that. You know, black people should now start playing chess. And I don't mean literally. I mean, do that too. But in terms of being calculating how we're thinking, I'm playing chess with my cousin's husband. Well, he's my cousin by marriage. He is kicking my butt. I can't even get, only people I can move my damn pawns. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, so I'm playing them online. So I went to challenge him in the game, and the system was like, listen, you are no match with Richard. You need to switch up and change the different format. And I'm like, damn, you're right. But I'm like, nah, I'm going to beat him. But, you know, we can't even get our pawns across the water to become queens or rooks or knights or bishops so we can move at that angle if necessary. Mm-hmm. You know, we got to stop. We got to go back to this thing. Why is it that in the white community it's called leadership, but the black community gets leaders? Who's our leader now? Al Sharpton? Jesse Jackson? Who's our leader? Or who do we have in leadership? Who? I mean, name one black person. Cory Booker? See, look at you. look. You even gave it away. You know what I'm saying? You know, who?
I'm my own leader. I lead me.
Lead yourself. Stephen Covey said, I'll give you correct principles and you govern yourself. Can I read this?
What do we do? How did we manage the stimulus money and SBA loans we were given? Were we forward thinking? Did we invest?
No.
You know what, sis? The sad part is a lot of people weren't able to invest because they lost their jobs. A lot of people needed that money, and the ones who didn't need the money that got it probably spent it on stuff. They probably spent it on stuff. So I don't know.
I know one.
When I was working
Huh?
on Wall Street, when I was working on Wall Street, I was really trying to educate Blacks about investing because I saw firsthand how the whites did it. I saw how they kept. That's when I realized there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. There's a big difference in being rich and being wealthy. And most of the clients that I dealt with were wealthy. And I'm talking generational wealth. I'm talking heiresses to multi-million and billion-dollar fortunes and stuff. So I watched how they kept it in the family. And I tried to educate Blacks on getting to that point. Nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to hear it. So I stopped talking.
Where we condition.
They was like, nah. Because I was like, what you do is you have it pre-tax dollars, you have it taken out before you get paid. That way you don't even see it. Oh, they're like, nah, because then my check gonna be short, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but you going to the liquor store, you buying cigarettes, you doing this, you doing that. And if you take that money and you invest it, you'd be surprised at what your return would be. They didn't want to hear it.
Yo, where did this mindset originate from? Why didn't they want to hear it? Why don't we want to hear these things when it comes down to invest? Dr. Claude Anderson has been saying this for the longest time, right? But where did it come from?
Hey, yo. They like instant gratification. You're right, sis. They do.
Everybody's right. I mean,
we're a microwave society. We want it right now.
The thing about it is, how did we get like that? Think about it. When and I were in school, would come home, and we would want a snack, right? You know, everything that we had for a snack had to be heated up and cooked, right? This is before we had a microwave.
Mm-hmm.
So, go over our friend's house. They go into the pantry. They got all types of snacks. You know what I'm saying? And a microwave, a big one. You know?
Yeah.
Heat that shit up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, chicken wings, you name it. I mean, me and my twin sister was coming home. We was coming home eating stuff like popcorn and hot tea. You know what I'm saying? You know, when we finally got a microwave. You know, and we called my mother and she was like, well, mommy, you know, we need something to eat. There's food in there, cook it. You know, so then when we finally started getting snacks, we ate those snacks up just like that.
Instant gratification.
Because we weren't used to having it. It got to a point where we had to have so much of it that it's like, you know, I remember, this is no lie. We went through, my twin sister and I went through a box of Cheetos, 60 bags of Cheetos in a week. The little bags, 60 of them. I can't stand the Cheeto to this day.
What's y'all eating it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Them up. I mean, because we wasn't used to having it. You know what I'm saying? We've been denied so long and held without. Saw how others are living. Now that we are making more, we want to enjoy it all now. And you know what? That's what happens. That's like Pavlov's dog. You know what I'm saying? We're drooling. And it's until we get reconditioned, then we're gonna be like this. My thing is, and I understand it, how did it start and how did we get back? Damn everything else that goes on. We already know we messed up. How did it start? How do we get back?
Well, one way is if you have kids, you teach your kids. I'm just saying, you don't give them everything under the sun.
Now, are you talking to a parent that's 25 years old, 23, 24 years old? You know what I'm saying? That's still buying Jordans. Not that you can't buy Jordans. I don't have none. You know what I'm saying? That they're still buying all of these fancy things. What do they instill in their kid? Listen, I'm 51.
I get it.
My child is 8, right? So she has no choice but to understand old school living. I don't deprive her. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But it ain't like
she what, 8 and she eating sushi? Really?
Look here, man. I mean, that's because she I mean, yeah, I'm out eating sushi. Dad, what's that sushi? You want something? I don't want that. Okay, cool. Next thing I know, she talking about for her 9th birthday, she want a sushi cake. Sure, you're right. But what I'm saying, and guess what? I don't have a problem with that, you know? But what happens if you're a kid yourself and you out buying your kids Jordans and, you know, they got both of your kids got 2 earrings and they're 2 years old and earrings and chains on their neck going to school and the gold bracelet on going to school. You know, what do you teach them?
What are you teaching them? You're teaching them, number one, that they don't have to work to get those nice things.
Right.
But what have they done to earn that? We've gotten away from rewarding kids for their hard work. You know, we want to give them everything because we didn't have.
What's your views on allowance?
Huh?
What are your views on giving kids allowances?
For what?
Right. Well, keep in mind, it's twofold. Number one,
okay, I know you're going. Go ahead.
Responsibility. But
yes, right.
It's like, why am I giving you allowance to get good grades in school? Why am I giving you allowance to clean up your room? You know what I'm saying?
These are things that you're supposed to do anyway. To me, I guess with allowance, when you do above and beyond, when you're doing stuff and I don't have to ask you to do it, like, let's say that mowing the lawn is not one of your chores and you decide you want to mow the lawn. Okay, that's worth a reward.
So are you creating a monster?
Creating a who?
A monster. Because you have that person like, you know what, I need some money. Let me go out here and work. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's good because you're creating that work ethic, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I give allowance for doing work around the house. It's earned.
So, okay.
Right. You're teaching them, right? You're teaching them. You do something, and you get rewarded for it. Just like with work, when you do your work, you get a paycheck. You don't do your work, you get fired. You get no paycheck.
Right. So once you give them the allowance, it's like, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to pay yourself first, and make it fun and saving. You know, if you're making $8 an hour nowadays, $12 an hour, and you're bringing home your paycheck, you bring home a $450 after taxes paycheck, right? What is there to save? Hell, $600 a week. What can you actually save? And what are you saving for? If anything, you're not saving, you're maintaining. You know, and we we've been in such a state of maintaining, you know what I'm saying? And when we do obtain, we obtain the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, And like I said, I keep going back, and I'm not blaming white people for where we are. I'm speaking the reality is that call Africa whatever you want to call it. Call it messed up, call it third world, call it poverty stricken, which you can't do because if that was the case, you wouldn't have been over there stealing their gold, and diamonds, right? Or diamonds. So, but don't take a person out of their natural habitat, right? Put them in an entirely different environment, strip and rob them, and then turn around and say they're not productive. You can't do that to people. And that's what's been done to us. And so it crosses boundaries. Now, we got black people don't respect each other, you bitch, you hoe, you broke ass nigga, all of that stuff, man. And we're tearing down each other. And it's hard, it's challenging, but I'm like, yo, where did this shit come from? Where did we learn to disrespect one another?
And how do we stop that?
And how do we stop it? You know what I'm saying? The first thing, Elena accused me of mansplaining, right?
Hey, Elena, if you're watching, can you type what mansplaining is? Because he said that to me, and I want to know what that means, because I've never heard that before.
And then she accused me, old conscious one. She accused me of cutting her off when she was attempting to talk. And I'm like, what?
I want to know what mansplaining is.
I know what it is, but I'm going to allow her to explain it so I don't explain mansplaining and get called out on it again. So she hit me up. Yeah, Joe, you cut me off too many times. You're mansplaining. And
I want to know, Elena. I want to know what mansplaining is. I need to know the definition of that. But I want to go back to something that you said. Okay, here she go. I want you to read this.
No,
you read it.
No.
You read it out loud.
Because it hurt my feelings when she said it. I'm still getting over it.
Just read what she said.
Okay.
Out loud.
Hold up. I wasn't mansplaining. Now, hold up. I wasn't mansplaining. Condescending?
Overconfident or often inaccurate, oversimplified manner.
But when she said that, you know what I said? First of all, I typed back and I said, excuse me, a bunch of E's and an exclamation point, or 2 or 3. And then I said, I get you. I got it. Right? If that's what I was doing or not doing, right? The fact that I respected her position and her perspective. And I'm not saying I wasn't doing that. Yeah, you were overconfident and accurate.
Stop that. Leave her alone.
No. I was just giving my perspective. But what I decided to do was, because of the value, right?
Mm-hmm.
The value that I value the relationship, right? Is to take in what she said,
mm-hmm.
right? Respect it,
mm-hmm.
hear what she had to say,
mm-hmm.
Own the fact that I did it, even if that was not my
accountable,
right? Even if those were not my intentions, mm-hmm. and then just move forward. So when I talked to her the other day, a couple of times I want to be like, "What?" And I was like,
But why? But okay, so why is it that in Black relationships there is so much disrespect? between the man and the woman? Why is it that the woman feels justified in telling her man, you know, you a bitch ass nigga, you ain't this, you ain't that, this, that, and the other? Why is it acceptable? And I'm asking those that are watching, why does it seem that it's acceptable for men and women to talk to each other that way? I can't see that. IASFS. What's that?
It all started from slavery. I'm always going to say that, because I'm not saying that black people didn't go through those things in Africa. We would never know. But we hear that we come from kings and queens and royalty and things of that nature. And if coming to America with any indication of where we come from, not everybody now, but in terms of how the husband and wife communicated, even when she was angry with him, she didn't say, nigga, you know what I'm saying? You know, she's like, well, who am I? I said, you're the king, you know? But let's go back. We are in our quarters. The wife has been in the house working, breastfeeding everybody else's kids but her own. The husband's been getting his ass kicked, picking cotton all day. Comes home to what we call soul food, chitlins and pig feet. You know what I'm saying? The rest of the earth food. Eat that shit. You know what I'm saying? Now sugar and gout and all that shit starts to come up. You know, and then spend as much time he has with his kid and family.
They weren't disrespecting each other. When he came home, she wasn't nagging him.
No, let me finish. No, I'm talking about when we're on the plantation. They're on the plantation, right? So they're spending time with their kids, their family. All of a sudden, boom, guess who jumps in the room? You know what I'm saying? Slave master comes in. Tonight is butt breaking night. Tonight we're going to rape, or tonight is we're going to rape his woman. And we're going to tie him up. We're going to rape his woman in front of him. Or we're going to butt break him in front of his kids, right? So the man is looking at, and that's my perspective. So the husband is looking at the wife because she's getting raped. She's looking at him like, you're not protecting me. He can't protect her, right? How many people have actually blamed the victim? You got raped? Shouldn't have been doing it. What did you have on? What did you say? What did you do? You know? So I think all of that stuff began with it, and then you're taking the husband away. So now this cat that made kids, and now he can't see his kid anymore. So even though externally he may display one thing, internally, I'm pretty sure he was dealing with the low self-esteem, with a vacant self-esteem. You know, where's my father? He knew where his father was. As my father, you getting your ass whooped and your father's not there to protect you. Or, and I'm finished, as Amos Wilson said, power is this. When you got a little 12-year-old skinny, frail white boy talking to a big black male who can crush him at any given times and giving him orders, and the black male says, yes, sir, and goes about and does what he is being told what to do. That's power. And all of that, in my opinion, has surfaced in us for so long. You know? So it's easy to say, you hoe, you broke ass nigga, you bitch. It's easier for us to say that. But it's hard as hell for us to say, my king, my queen, I forgive you. You know, forgive me for manscaping. Excuse me, manscaping. I mean, mansplaining.
He said manscaping.
Hey.
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 I don't know. I guess I'm.
Nick.
Ken missed it this week.
Get the video, but yeah, you understand what I'm saying?
I guess I'm cut from a different cloth because, my boyfriend and I, we call each other king and queen. You know, and if I'm wrong, then I say I'm wrong. If he's wrong, then he says he's wrong.
How old are you?
48.
Is this the first time that this has happened?
That what has happened?
I'm wrong. I own it. You're wrong. You own it.
No.
Okay.
I mean, if I mess up, I had to get to that point, you know, because I used to blame everybody else, but I had to get to the point of being accountable and owning my shit, because that's the only way that I was going to grow. You can't grow if you're constantly lying to yourself.
Right. But what I'm saying is, why is it that, you know, it's like people find harmonious relationships in their 60s and 70s when they're about to die and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like you had to go through all of this hell, right? Why couldn't it have been since day one? One thing that we've always had with each other in our community has been respect. Respect, power, and money, right? You know what I'm saying? It should have never been a case where, you know, damn, at 48 years old, at 51 years old, for the first time I'm in a relationship where someone is saying, I respect you or I own my shit. You know, that's what I'm saying. You're right. I mean, you have to get there, but why do we have to get there all the time? So when we have kids now, so Yolanda is given an allowance, right? So she ain't stalling her kids out. You know what I'm saying? Taking her through on purpose what we went through on default. You know, not having money, not having food enough, not getting an allowance, not knowing how to get a $20 and take 10% of that and put it away. Hell, take 20% of that and put it away, and then do other things for it. You know, so we're not doing to our kids what was done to us, and that's where the change is coming in at. But if you're in your 20s and you're doing the same things to your kids that was done to you, you know, see, it's one thing when my mother ain't had no money. We went from upper class to lower class with just one parent leaving. You know, we had a boat. I didn't even know that. You know what I'm saying? We had a boat. So then we went through a phase where, you know, for Christmas, we had double everything, 2 gifts of the same kind, to getting 3-4 things because it wasn't affordable. So now I'm not going to starve my child out to teach her that type of lesson, because it's like a friend of mine, Jermaine, says, and he quoted Hugh Masekela, and which I didn't know Hugh Masekela said that. He said, "We are poor imitators of our oppressors."
Mm.
So if we're beating our kids the way that we got beat, not because we're trying to correct behavior, but that's the only thing we know, then we're going to continue this cycle, this vicious, over and over and over again.
I only beat to correct bad behavior. I didn't beat just because.
Was it beating? Was it discipline?
It was discipline, because sometimes I wouldn't even beat. It would be like a punishment.
Yeah.
I tried to make this so that the punishment fit the crime.
Right, because discipline is not something that's done to you, it's something that's done for you.
Right. You know? And I explained to her why this is happening, you know. And again, you know, her dad not always taught her that every action that you do has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. So I would point out if she did something good and she got a good consequence, I would point that out, just as I would point out if you did something bad, you know, and you had a bad consequence, so that she could understand the difference, so that she knew, okay, I cleaned my room and mommy didn't have to tell me, so mommy's taking me out for the day.
Right.
That's a good consequence, because you did something good, versus you didn't do your chores or whatever, so you can't watch TV tonight.
Right.
Action, consequence.
Are you familiar with the book Well Done, WHALE DONE?
No.
It talks about they training whales at SeaWorld, right? How do you discipline a whale? You smack the shit out of it? You know what I'm saying?
No, but I saw the thing Blackfish, and they talked about I forgot the name of I forgot his name. He was at SeaWorld. But I saw how they actually trained, and you know, the whales and stuff. They wouldn't feed them.
But see, now this was different because they were saying when you are, but see, when you're starving them, then they turn into beasts because they get hungry and you're looked upon as a worm. But if you're in their domain, you need to be gentle with them. Catch them doing right. So today, I get an email from my daughter's teacher, right? And she's telling me that Leslie, her mask is falling off, right? So the first thing, as a Black parent, it's a reflection on us. Everything that you do is a reflection on us. That's ego. You know what I'm saying? You out here acting crazy, they're going to think that we're not disciplining. So at first I'm like, yo, why aren't you wearing your mask? I mean, she's wearing it. I'm like, I bought you the strap and the whole nine, right? So I'm like, how do I handle this? Okay. So I said, listen, I'm tired of having this teacher call me about this or email me about this, right? Wear your strap. Okay? Wear your strap. Just wear your strap. Instead of beating her, because we would get beat because we're trying to drive that fear out of them. And I don't want to do that. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm tough on her, but the reward is actually greater than the discipline because she understands that there's a balance here.
Right. But I don't think there's something like that warranted a beating, though. I mean, that's just a simple, we need to have a discussion. We need to explain why this, that, and the other. I mean,
but we didn't get explained to back in those days. We got our ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Because we were under that dispensation of kids need to be seen and not heard. You know what I'm saying?
My mother used to tell me that all the time when she was on the phone. But
so nowadays, instead of reenacting that BS behavior onto her, I'm like, okay, let me chill out and give a better understanding so she doesn't begin to act out. But here's the thing. This is what's happening to Black people. You know what I'm saying? We saw last week when these folks ran up in the Capitol and Jermaine said, folks out here educated and degreed, but they spelling capital with CAPATIAL, if I spelled it right. No OL. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly, Yolanda. That's exactly what I was just sitting here thinking because I said so, Era.
Yeah.
Yep.
And guess what? So therefore, well, mommy, why do you have? How come you can have a man in your room, but I can't have a boy come in my room? Because I said so. Right?
First of all.
Because I said so.
First of all, why does the kid even know that there's a man in the bedroom?
Because
that's number one.
See, let me tell you something. That should never happen, right?
Exactly. That's like, I mean, whoa, just whoa.
Yeah, and mommy
even after I divorced, I never brought dudes around my daughter.
Not supposed to, but I mean, you come.
That's my life. That ain't hers. What I do in my private life ain't got nothing to do with her.
But you cut off. You understand what I'm saying? You cut. But keep in mind when you start saying because I said so, and now we're at the point where why do I have to explain anything to you? You're the child. I'm the adult.
But see, that's the wrong attitude to have. When you explain to them, you give them knowledge so that they understand, so that they don't keep making the same fucking mistakes. Yes. That because I said so is nah. I mean, I had that. I didn't like it because that's like in my head. I was like, but that's not an answer. But I'm not gonna say that, to my parent. I'm not gonna say that. Okay, I hope you're feeling better, Yolanda. Thanks for watching. I'm headed to physical therapy. No, it's her shoulder. But yeah, no, I made it a point with my daughter to explain things to her. I mean, because kids, they're little sponges. You know what I'm saying? They soak up everything, and they're learning from everything that we do.
Well, and you're right. But let's go back. Miss Mamie, why is it that I got to breastfeed your child on the left side of my tit, but I can't breastfeed my own kid because I said so.
Because the heart is on that side.
Right, we know that. They know that. Don't ask me no questions. You know what I'm saying? Do what I tell you to do. Right? And what do? We come home and we do the same thing. Well, mommy, why is it that you cut the ends off the ham?
Because my mother did it.
You know what I'm saying?
Grandma, why did you cut the ends off the ham?
Because
my mother did it.
My mother did it. You know?
My grandma, why did you cut the ends off the ham? Because it wouldn't fit in the pan.
But then you turn around and say, but don't waste no food. Or we do something like we get a bigger pan. Well, you know, it's 2020, just get a bigger pan, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you don't cut the ends off that ham, you're not opening it up. See the ends, you put it somewhere, you can put that in the greens, and that gives it the seasoning. And all of this bullshit that we take on, you know what I'm saying? Like when it's lightning and thundering, shh, be quiet, be quiet. God is doing his work. You know what I'm saying? Look, as soon as it started lightning and thundering, we was in D.C., what we had to do? Everybody got quiet, turned the lights off, went and sat on the couch and started singing church songs.
Well, we ain't sing church songs. My mother was like, unplug the TV.
Yeah, look. What a friend we have in Jesus. You know, I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything?
Elena said, lit.
Well, they used to be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Listen, I was in the store with my mother the other day. She's 81, right? Mm-hmm. I said, Mommy, take the cart. I'm going to run over here. I'll catch up with you in a minute because I had to get some vegetables, right? Mm-hmm. When I got to her, I looked down in the cart. You know what she had in the cart? Pork stomach. I was like, who eats that shit? And you know what? And I had to walk away, right? Because I'm cynical like that. I was going to get on, take a picture of it, and send it out to my brother and sister. Like, yo, look at this. But that's what I realized. At 81 years old, if you're still, she didn't buy it. I didn't say anything. I didn't condemn her, right? I didn't get on her. Because if that's what you want to get, that's what you want to get, right? Mm-hmm. But I can't see myself eating from that same pot. I don't care how many times you wash it.
You stupid.
Nah, I got relatives to this day. They will cook my shit in separate pots. Like, nah, he's coming. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. But at 81 years old, if you're still eating like that, it's no shame. It's a mindset. It is a mindset. Let me say this, and I'm going to shut up. I promise. I'm bullshitting. I ain't going to shut up. My buddy called me last year. He's like, yo, Les, what's up? He said, do you know what the grooves are for in the freezer? You know the groove when you open up your freezer. If you have that means you got an old school refrigerator freezer. You know the grooves in there. You know the grooves. Yeah, you know what they're for. When you get packages of meat to stand it up, so you line it up across the bottom of. Oh. Right. So I said, man, damn. He said, yeah, it's too late for us. You know what I'm saying?
We never. Okay, so when I was younger, we got our meat. We had to clean it, put it in bags, and then put it in the freezer because it took up less room that way.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. But keep this in mind. If that's what it was intended for, right? That's what. It's a lot of shit. It's too late for us. We start talking about changing behaviors and how we deal with each other. You know what I'm saying? How many times, remember the 5 Heartbeats in the beginning when my man was singing? And he's like, the mother's like, you need to go see your son. He ain't gonna be shit because I wasn't shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And guess what? He turned out not to be shit. Now, see. Now,
the freezer look like that? That's dumb.
That's that black male on male disrespect we was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Watch this. I feel that you were womanscaping, excuse me, womansplaining.
I was getting ready to say.
No, my freezer doesn't look like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, we just got a new one that you open up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not bragging. You know, I'm just saying, I'm not bragging. I ain't got it like that.
Fancy now.
No, fancy is when you got that Samsung and they got the Samsung tablet built inside. You know what I mean? Beep, 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 beep. That's fancy. Yeah.
That's too much. That's just way too much.
We'll keep this in mind. Right. But we say it's too much. Right?
I saw a refrigerator freezer and that joint was like 10 grand. For what?
Is
it going to clean my meat when I put it in there for $10,000? That's not paying my bill for me.
Is it too expensive?
Yes. For a refrigerator freezer? Are you kidding me?
Let me ask you a question. Is it too expensive? And no disrespect. Is it too expensive when you
even if I was a multimillionaire, that's just too much money for that.
Okay. What if you was making $10,000 a minute? Would that be an issue?
Matter. It's stupid. Huh?
Would that be an issue?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not spending 10 grand on a refrigerator freezer.
Why not?
Because it's stupid. For $10,000, I could put somebody's kid through college for a year. That's stupid. Yeah. I'm gonna pay 10 grand to house my vegetables and stuff like that. I'm gonna pay $10,000 for that. I don't think so.
You don't value your meat and your vegetables.
That's ridiculous.
I bet you paid $10,000 for a cigar holder.
Nope.
You bullshit. Nope. Okay.
Would not.
Got you.
Would not. And I love I love my sticks. I would not. Nope.
Right. So here's what I'm saying, right? No, my refrigerator does not look like that. You know, my freezer does not look like that, right? Call Lena Thomas. Anyway, but I'm just saying so much has been passed along. And it's like we gotta pull back these layers. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, to me, if we were bred and we weren't supposed to rise, and these folks came over and put their yeast into us, right? Look how we've grown. Look how we've risen. It seems as though we're no good to nobody, not even our damn selves. And that's hard, because I'm black, you know, but we have so many different mindsets about basic fundamentals, investing, raising our children, education. You know, is it profitable to buy a brand new car? You know what I'm saying? You know, what about depreciation? How quickly does your car depreciate once you drive it off the lot? Is a house an investment? Stocks, living trust, wills, life insurance.
I tell people, because this is what I learned when I was working on Wall Street. I advise people all the time not to do wills. I tell them to do trusts, because wills can be contested and trusts can't. And a lot of people don't realize that. So I tell people all the time, if you're one of those families and you feel like, oh my gosh, you know, I want this person to get that when I pass, this, that, and the other. You got heirlooms, blah, blah, blah. Do a trust, because trust cannot be contested in court. That's different. And that's one thing that I learned when I worked on Wall Street. Whenever a child was born into that family, we got trust paperwork immediately. And I used to always tell them, okay, you know, we can't exercise the trust because the child didn't have a social security number yet. So that would be one of the first things that they would do. Birth certificate, social security number, send in the paperwork. we would start the trust on the kid. And so it was a regular trust in the beginning, because with regular trust, you can make changes. But when they were ready to lock that trust down, no more changes, irrevocable trust, because then you can't change that. If you want to change the irrevocable trust, you have to dissolve that trust and then start a brand new one. You can't make changes. And a lot of people do not realize that. You know, if you got one of them families where you think they're going to be fighting, set up a trust, and it stops all of that. But don't tell them that you got a trust.
Yeah.
And whoever the trustee is, you know, people don't realize you can actually have banks as your trustee. They're a neutral party. They have no interest in, you know, whatever. They will do what the trust states, period. They know, oh, well, if you let me, no. So it's a lot that I think Black need to be educated on, especially, you know, in that arena. But like I said, nobody was trying to listen. So I just be having a wealth of knowledge and stuff, and I'll pass it on to those that listen and want to know. But I got tired of talking and people not listening.
Yeah. On February 5th, I'm starting the weekend school for conscious minds, right?
Okay.
Kids, parents who want to put their kids in a virtual weekend school with me for 3 hours on Saturdays and 3 hours on Sundays, right? Mm-hmm. And what we're teaching, you know, SAT vocabulary. We may do a little pre-law, pre-med, reading comprehension, because if we don't get back to the basics of education and looking at education in terms of school not being the only place that you can learn, we're not going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm hopeful because I see young adults of color doing it on all fronts and doing it in ways their parents did. Right.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
That is. So, and with that, like with the school, you know, yeah, you know, when my kid was just in school, you know, all week, right? But like Malcolm said, he said, you know, only a fool will allow their enemy to educate their child. And I'm not calling teachers of the opposite color of your child the enemy. I'm calling systems, organizations as the enemies. Because I've seen a school in Chicago where Freedom Home Academy, where these kids are in elementary, going to middle school, they're getting their white coats at 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? They know the anatomy. And I'm like, yo, Miss Morden, and I'm looking at these. Marcus Klein is doing a great job out in Chicago. And I'm like, I'm modeling, you know, what I'm doing. So if we don't get back to education, Dr. Amos Wilson wrote a book called Blueprint for Black Power, like 863 pages. And he also wrote a book on awakening the natural genius in Black children, right? If we don't get back to educating children, right? And I ain't talking about, you know, because if you start a kid off with singing the alphabet song and they learn it through a song, you're setting them up for failure, you know, because when they get down to elemental P, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you take it out of the tune, they don't know how to say L, M, N, O. It's elemental P.
Flashcards.
Whatever it takes. You know, if we are not going back and educating, and I'm talking about going back to really, really grassroots education, then we're going to set them up for failure. And at a certain period and certain time, because I had ADD. Shit, we all had ADD growing up back in those days. We got our ass whooped. And that was the end of that. You know what I mean? My mother said, it's one thing if you get D's and F's in your progress. But if you got D's and F's in conduct too, then there's a problem. There's a problem. You not learning because you being a class clown is one thing. If you got a deficiency, we can work on that. But if you're gonna bring home an F, you better have A in conduct. You have an A+ in conduct.
My teacher used to say I didn't talk enough. I didn't participate enough. I got good grades, but I just didn't participate.
And you know what? I used to have a problem when people didn't participate, but that's just your thing. Some people are just not like it. Some days I don't want to say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Quiet as it's kept.
Days where I don't talk.
Yeah, I worked at jobs in which I didn't talk, and when I finally did talk, they was like, "He talked." I would, yeah, me. You know, but you know, can we read what the lady said again? Because I am hopeful because I see young adults of color doing it on all fronts and doing it with, yeah. Because somewhere in between what their parents taught and what they're teaching their kids, a shift happened, a shift changed, you know, and we're going to have a shift soon. If not, as Claude Anderson said years ago, the information highway will not benefit Black people. It will just advance. You put a dumb person in a slow car, they get to their destination slower. You put a dumb person in a fast car, they're going to get to their destination faster and still dumb. You know what I'm saying? Or like they said, if you take a dumb child home, someone dumb is going to answer the door. You know, that's not mine, but I agree with that shit wholeheartedly. Because you can have kids that are struggling and parents recognize that and have smart parents and they're on it. You know, they're on it. So,
yep.
Hey, like I said earlier.
What does that stand for?
It all started, man, it all started from slavery.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Why did I ask? And on that note, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because everything is slavery related with Les. Yeah. So, want to thank those who watched us this week. We hope you guys have a productive rest of your week.
Yep.
Do something nice for somebody. Make sure you spread love and not hate. Be kind to everyone because you never know who's in need of it. And smile. Smiling is good for the soul. And on that note, folks, we are going to say deuces. And we love you guys. Thank you guys for supporting us as always. And we will see you same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Same Black Spasm time, same
Black
Spasm.
All right. Peace out, y'all.
Peace. Y'all be good. What's going on?